Hello, good morning, everyone. Of course, I would like to thank the organizing committee for the invitation, and I would like to also apologize that unfortunately I cannot come over to Bogor, Indonesia, to deliver the lecture in person because of some conflicts in my schedule recently in the university. So, without further ado, I would like to deliver the lecture, which was assigned to me with the topic about establishing and managing a wound, ostomy, and continence practice in a hospital setting. And just a brief background, I have been working in a tertiary hospital for 23 years now, one of the biggest hospital chain in the Philippines, which is the Medical City Hospital. And at the same time, because of the long success and long journey that I had in my practice as a ostomy and wound and continence nurse here in the Philippines, this time I was able to share it, the specialization and expertise in the university where I previously took my nursing degree. So I'm also a professor at the Centro Escolar University in their two campuses teaching medical surgical nursing. So the Ostomy and Wound Center is a specialized facility which actually take cares of patients with complications on wounds, ostomy, incontinence, and not only taking care of the patient, but the family member as well. So it is a complex, multidisciplinary center. And what I did at the Medical City Hospital is to make sure that the center is managed by a nurse, which is the nurse is the key spearheader of the center to be able to maximize its full capacity. So there was of course, at first there are some resistance pertaining to the practice because changing the culture of the patient is being managed directly by doctors and physicians is quite a bit challenging, no? So I was able to change that mindset and that culture that ostomy and wound centers can be managed by nurses, can be operationally managed by nurses who are actually specializing in this field, and not only for ostomy but also other types of wounds as well. So I was able to collaborate well with many specialties, no, not only specialties but many departments that may involve the ostomy and wound center, which we will also be mentioning later. So to maximize its full capacity, you must be able to manage or to offer a lot of range of specialized treatments and services tailored for patients' needs, no, pertaining to ostomy and wound care, and basically on how to improve their quality of life despite to the fact that they have these certain complications. Now, the journey, of course, started when I had my training in Malaysia, in Penang, Malaysia. That was 2010. So that was around 14 years ago. And when I came back from Malaysia, I started my own center at the hospital wherein I made a business proposal or a strategic plan. So this strategic plan would basically comprise of the different operational aspects in running a center, which you're going to propose to the top management or to the hospital administration so that they can give you budget when it comes to, of course, the equipments, the supplies, and the manpower that you need. No? So, for example, you need how many nurses. This would be equivalent to how many returns on the investments or how many would benefit and the number of patients pertaining to the number of nurses that you need. So, important things that I've learned into starting up a center is of course do not burn bridges, but you must be able to befriend all of the different specialties and how can you meet at the middle and of course work closely for the benefit of the patient. So when I started, it's only me. So it's just me doing everything. And then eventually I proposed to have a assistant. And then now, presently, I have at least 15 nurses at my center with 9 treatment rooms and one mini OR wherein we do debridement. So you can see I have a vascular surgeon on board and also a colorectal surgeon, no, on board. So to handle the different changes. So of course, there are many challenges. So these are some challenges that we have encountered or I have encountered throughout my journey. So one is, of course, in the Philippines, there is a lack of specialized training in advanced wound care, stoma management, and patient education that can lead to inconsistencies in care, especially if the patient is being handled by different specialty. So, of course, here in the Philippines, no, um, all doctors can do wound care, but they have their own, technique. They have their own strategy, and they have their own way of managing the patient. So basically, you cannot get the same outcome. So it's very difficult on how are we going to implement a standardized protocol at the hospital if they have these different practices, no? So another, when it comes to nursing, that was, I think, before 5 years or 8 years ago, there is really a lack of specialized training. But now, I guess because of the presence of the different societies, there have been a lot, and many nurses now are into specialization of wound care. I have talked to my friend Widasari Ibuwida and also with the people at WOCare to have a partnership with them pertaining to a specialized training, collaborative training with my hospital, the Medical City with WOCare, wherein we will have exchange nurses or exchange students wherein they will send nurses at my hospital and I will also send nurses in Indonesia to have that cross training. So hopefully in the future it will be made possible. Presently, in collaboration with Professor Dato Hari Krishna, we were able to have a mini diploma for wound care at the university where I teach, and it will start on this second semester. So, Prof. Hari, this July 26 will be here in Manila to have that official memorandum of agreement or signing with the university. So, another challenge, of course, like I said, when it comes to budget constraints, you must be able to have a justifiable reason or must have a very good business plan in talking with the administrative or top management to be able to have those equipments with you. What are the expected or projected outcome of your budget and the business plan to be able to have a good revenue or return, or if not in return, when it comes to quality of care, what are the outputs that you are going to expect. So it's also very important that you have certain key performance indicators and quality indicators that would reflect those work to be able to easily justify, no? So resistance from other healthcare professionals, I think that I have mentioned a while ago, also pertaining also to the traditional practice and modern management of ostomy complications, wherein we know, even I think everywhere throughout the world, different countries have different cultures that our people practice. No? So when it comes to the provinces here in the Philippines, of course, they have their own practice wherein sometimes it's easy to break. So I think, again, going back to education and awareness is important. So balancing inpatient and outpatient demands may be included in your business planning. And of course, you must have a concrete standardized protocols, no, and guidelines to be able to meet the standards that you want for your patients, especially if the patient is paying patients, so they expect a lot. Philippines have a lot of expatriates, no, meaning we have patients coming from different countries, especially from the US or Western countries. So they most probably expect that we will be delivering the same treatment or the same services that they have in their country to ours. So we have like an accreditation of this, no? So it's also helpful in having your standards met. So the wound center is a multidisciplinary center. So you can see here, on the slides that it's a collaborative effort between different specialties. No? So you have your orthopedics, plastic surgery, endocrinology, general surgery, colorectal, rehabilitation, nursing. So in hospital settings, the center must collaborate with these different departments, and you must have different services that may complement them to be able to have a mutual relationship wherein they can send patients to you too. So it's not just a one-way basis or a one-way road. So it's supposed to be mutual between the two of you, and not only that, but also in other departments wherein you also give patients to other departments that could benefit or may help that patient. For example, like if your patient have diabetic foot ulcers, definitely it needs the diabetes center. Patients with wounds and ostomies may need nutrition counseling, so you must have a nutritionist or dietitian on board. Intensive care unit wherein you measure pressure injuries, of course, home care and continuity of care, and supplies management, pharmacy, and so on. So these are what we call collateral referrals. Now, all of this is very important in maintaining a very effective wound care center. So for the facilities and equipments, no, this is very important that you have to maintain. You must have a disposable we now use disposable protective equipments, no, or personal protective equipments, or PPE. This is again because of the pandemic that happened recently, and so we don't want to be very complacent, and we want to maintain those standards. So everything from washable linens, now we use disposable ones. Our treatment rooms are negative pressured, so to be able to maintain the sterilized environment and controlled environment, we have a very good exhaust system. So when you go there, you can smell though you don't have any bad smell, and the patient definitely won't feel, ashamed or isolated because of their current condition. Of course, the cleaning is every after patient, there should be a wall-to-wall cleaning. And presently you can see that we have 9 treatment rooms, 13 nurses, and I have now 5 nursing assistants. Now, these nursing assistants are nurses who just recently graduate from a bachelor's degree but haven't take the board exams yet. So if they pass the board exam, the Philippine licensure exam, they will be elevated to a nursing or a licensed nurse position. No? So there are certain scope of practice when it comes to certified nursing assistants and also a licensed RN. So I was able to have a separate practice between them wherein they can practice ostomy and wound care. So here is an example of our ostomy laboratory and the foot bath. So the ostomy laboratory is where all patients at the hospital can use this lavatory and will not use the public toilet. So because we know that they may feel, isolated, and they have self-esteem problems. They might feel ashamed when they go to public restrooms wherein there might be a lot of lines or because of the smell. So this ostomy laboratory and ostomy toilet is really created for them alone so that they can use this room. And they have also a separate shower area where they can use if there have been some problems, especially if they want to change their clothes or if they want to take a shower. So this is our regular treatment rooms wherein you can see that all documentations are already used on the computer system, or we are already paperless, so we don't use manual forms anymore. So we use the hospital library system or the hospital information system wherein everything is digital. So you just go there and fill in your assessment, and then it will be automatically sent to the doctor, no? So the doctor can see your assessment and your documentation real time, and then they can also reply, no, real time on your assessment and documentation, and can also give their suggestions and orders pertaining to the treatment that you are going to give to the patients. And of course, everything there, even the pictures that you take for documentation, is also sent on that system, or that library, no, or hospital library system. So this is our consultation room, wherein we do consultation for the patient and also to the family members. And the TV is used for the patient's education, or what we call their even instructional videos, no? Educational videos and instructional videos, like for example, how to control diabetes, or what is diabetic foot ulcers, no? What is an ostomy, what is a colostomy, ileostomy, how to take care of your foot, how to take care of your stomach, how to do pouch changing. So this can actually minimize the contact time of your nurses to the patient, wherein the nurses can do other things, no? So while the patient, unlike before, normally consultation would take around more than an hour, and instead of doing many other things as well, or can accommodate many patients, which can be much more urgent, is we spend more time on this. So we have this digitalized version, we have wherein we can still have face-to-face contact interaction with the patient, but only on those things that are important, like for example, what to ask, question and answer portion. But when it comes to the educational materials, or the instructional things about ostomy and taking care of themselves or with their wounds, we use these instructional videos. And eventually, at the end, we re-evaluate the patient, no? And we check if they really understand the videos, or we reevaluate their independency when it comes to self-care, no? So when it comes to nursing training or empowerment, we have included nursing career track programs for our new nurses, wherein when they, after their graduation in the university, after their licensure, and then they enter the hospital as as an employee, it is part now of their training program to be trained as an ostomy nurse or an ostomy and wound nurse. So we give them the basics when it comes to ostomy care. We do nursing simulations, no? And we also give them rotations at the ostomy and wound center, wherein they can have, I think, a week of immersion to the center. So they can, besides their normal training program, they have this as an additional. This, I think, is very important and has minimized the different issues when it comes to hospital-acquired skin injuries. And also, if they are, for example, this nurse here is from the neonatal intensive care unit, in their center, she can take care already of the patients, pediatric patient, neonate patients who have ostomies, and they no longer call the center for assistance, not unless the situation is some things that they cannot handle, no? So, we must be able to, I think, to have a successful program at the hospital, you must have an overview of what are the existing services that you have, and also what are the facilities and equipments that you may need or you already have, no? So to be able to again maximize the full potential and capacity, and to assess the situation if we can really give this type of service to the patient. So I think it's best that you identify the things that you can do, identify the things that the hospital can provide to the patients before announcing them to the public. So, what are the types of treatments that you can do? So, you can do marking, site marking, you can do pouch changing, and what are other more advanced treatments that you can do? For example, you can do laser therapy and so on, no? And other modalities like debridement, no? And what are the facilities that or equipments that you may need? So, of course, we know that we must have different types of ostomy appliance available, no, at the center. So, at least provide for me, I think, three brands that must be available, so that In cases wherein one brand is not available, the patient can also have other options. And by doing so, the patients can have different options when it comes to their financial capacity. So they can buy if within their certain budget. And we know that in the Philippines, these ostomy appliances are not actually subsidized, no? They pay by themselves. And these dolls that we have for pediatric patients, no? Thank you for WoCare uh, to Sister Wida. And she gave us these dolls that we can use for our pediatric patients, no? So we're in the children that has ostomy can play with the dolls and at the same time like a mirror image of educating and awareness for the pediatric patients or the kids that ostomy or having an ostomy is not a taboo and that it does happen to different ages and it can help them teach in a better way on how to properly change their ostomy bags and ostomy appliance. So, when it comes to the different strategies, of course, like I said, there is a scope of practice here in the Philippines. So, when you are at the hospital setting, you must be able to have those standardized protocols wherein there are some things that nurses can do and some things that nurses must refer already to the patient. So, nurses here in the Philippines are not allowed to do surgical debridement or sharp debridement. We are not allowed to cut tissues because of some scenarios wherein, for example, if the patient have bleeding, the nurses cannot do cauterization, the nurses cannot do sutures, the nurses cannot give anesthesia, and the nurses cannot prescribe medications. So I think this law or these guidelines are made for patient safety as well. So I think when it comes to the premise, we always say that wound care and ostomy care is multidisciplinary. So I think there is always a limit or a line wherein if it is not within your scope of practice, you must collaborate with other departments, especially when the patient has infection. So if the patient has infection, basically you need systemic antibiotics to be given to the patient. And that is also the role of the doctors wherein they must prescribe antibiotics, no, right after you do wound culture. Also, same with oncology patients or cancer patients because there are some medications and treatments that may also alter or may worsen the cancer cells, especially if there are certain growth factors that you use for patients' wounds. No? So when it comes to ostomy care, we're able to develop different strategies wherein in the hospital, what to do on the pre-operative side, on the post-operative side, and also on the continuity of care. So it's a step-by-step process when the patient is admitted to the hospital or before the admission, at least 2 to 3 days before admission, the patient and the family members are given counseling, pre-op counseling. And then stoma marking is also done. And then of course they are being given orientation on what to expect during the operation, what to expect after the operation, and to inform them that after the operation, the ostomy and wound nurse will continue to have a visit on their room until discharge, and then we reevaluate if they are independent enough to take care of themselves or they still need some assistance, and then we're going to provide continuative care to their homes, or we will going to do home care service, no? So another thing that is important in a ostomy and wound center in a hospital setting is when it comes to improvement, no? So we have certain quality improvement measures, key performance indicators wherein we can, because of the data that we gather, we can evaluate and also check if what we're doing is okay or not. So we can actually analyze if we are on or we are within the standards or we are actually not doing well. So all of my staffs can be able to view these key performance indicators which are posted real time in our board, and they can see if we have how many patients do we have for the day, how many patients are delayed, and is this nurse doing well or is this nurse actually is dragging the team, and of course, what are the outcomes and outputs of the patients when it comes to their journey. So by this, understanding patient demographics, no, identifying what are their needs, and all of this can be very beneficial to both parties, not only to the patients, but also as to the hospital who's delivering service. So we can be able to analyze if we are actually delivering the right service or not, or are we actually giving what the patient wants and what actually the patient needs, no, instead of giving service that are really unnecessary. So also it is very important that we must have what we call alignment with the different hospital departments, and not to have services that may be against their vision and mission. So meaning, uh, avoid cannibalization of services. Like for example, you are giving services that are already being served by the operating room or by the emergency room. So it is very important that we collaborate with them. No, so talk to the different department heads that before you roll out the services, we make sure that everyone is well informed, and everyone is also well aware of what are the things that are included in your services, and how can this service improve with their health, and how can we also deliver the service that would help their department. So this is the center in general. So initially, we only have ostomy. In time, we were able to have chronic wounds and incontinence care. No, so we have now expanded our services, and now it's really, really big, up to many therapies that are given to the hospital. And when it comes to best practices, we were able to do prevention and surveillance hospital-wide. And this time, because we have, I think, in a year, last year we had around 23,000 services, or 23,000 services that we have provided. We were able to gather data, and our main goal now is to conduct research and to have published studies pertaining to what we are doing at the hospital right now. We also have collaborative work with the ERAS. No? So ERAS is early recovery after surgery program of the hospital, wherein it is a optimization of the patient's journey, wherein early ambulation would decrease the risk of complications. So this pertains to early ambulation, early nutrition, and then early discharge to the patient, wherein lessening their length of stay at the hospital. So it's a big collaboration of services, and I think this can be another good topic wherein we can discuss. And this is now where the trend is going, no? So actually, the whole world is studying, and the Philippines, the Medical City Hospital also is the first center of excellence when it comes to ERAS, no? So because we are doing this now with not only colorectal patients, but also like orthopedic, OB/GYN, and urology. So we also do quality information or quality improvement programs when it comes to pressure injuries. So this is an example wherein I have a dedicated nurse that is assigned on the ICU and the critical care areas, wherein we know that the patients there are high risk of getting pressure injuries and other skin injuries as well. So they do the assessment and the documentations. No? So we also monitor if we are actually on the right track, meaning, are we getting enough census? So if we are not getting enough census, what happens? Do we have complaints? No, so we're able to analyze that. Or is there a center where the patients go, no, instead of us, no? And are there any flaws, or are there any problems when it comes to the treatments? What about the prices that we give? Is it very expensive for the patient? No? So this is just to show the 5 years trend, and just last year, I think we have 17,000, but it actually went up more. So like I said earlier, up to 21,000 services in a year. So we also monitor the turnaround time, if patients are being given the care properly, or are they given enough time, or if the nurse is taking too long. So it can be added value pertaining to the journey of the patient for the care. So we also monitor the patient services, no, complaints or customer satisfaction, if they have any suggestions on how are we going to improve. So this is the summary of the dashboard wherein we post at the center, and everyone can actually see this dashboard wherein it can have a summary of everything. And it's very important the staffs, no, that they know this so they can have their involvement on this project. So this is the TV that we have outside. So this is an example of what we do. So this is an example of just a simple case that we have, where in Manila or in the Philippines there is a very small or limited supplies when it comes to pediatric bags. So most of the time we just have to improvise. So you apply ostomy powder at the sides. It's always effective. Leave it there, cover it with an hydrocolloid film, and then let that hydrocolloid stay for at least whenever you change the bags, no. So because if most of the practitioners would, some of them who are not actually aware of proper ostomy care would say that leave it open so it will be air dried, but definitely it will become worse, no. So this is how we do it, and definitely in 5 days you will see the difference, no. So the skin definitely, or the peristomal area, needs some rest because it is continuously being exposed by the effluent, or and the fluid that comes out of the stomach that are corrosive to the skin, no. And basically, the when this happens, the baby becomes, malnourished because of the discomfort that it gives to the patient, poor nutrition because baby was not able to feed well because of the pain and the experience that they have. So this is an example of a pressure injury. So we use negative pressure wound vacuum therapy initially, no, and then when the patient is sent home, our nurse is doing home care, and you can see a good contraction, no, on the patient. So why does the patient doesn't have to do an operation? Because the patient is already 98 years old, so it's too old. Surgery may be at high risk of complications for this patient, so you need palliative care or home care for this one as long as the wound doesn't get infected. I think now presently it's already closed, no. So this is, we also handle cancer patients, no, breast cancer patients. So this one, after mastectomy, the patient was referred to the center for wound care, and then eventually outpatient basis only. In the Philippines, wound care is subsidized by the government, so there is no payment by the patient as long as it is covered by certain codes, or CPD, or what we call or ICDs, no, sorry. So there are some codes that are subsidized by the government, certain wounds also. So you can see here with the use of, we just use, I think, foam and silver dressings on this one, and then continuous care. Now, always educate the patient because there's a dilemma wherein if the wound is closed, they think the cancer is gone. No, they have to go back to their oncologist because the cancer is still there. Yes, externally or visually, the wound closed, but it's just the wound, no, but not the cancer side. So, education is really important, no? So do lay forums and for this. So now the medical city has six big hospitals and I think 70 satellite clinics, no, all around the Philippines. So we also have a hospital in Guam. So basically my role now is to spread wound centers and to train nurses, not only in the medical city but also at the other hospitals in the Philippines as well, to have, at least a formal training program and to be able to have the interest for those people to be able to help more patients. So I think that would be all. And I'm so sad that I wasn't able to go to Bogor. Bogor is one of my favorite. And I wasn't able to see also my brothers and sisters there in Indonesia. And hopefully see them all soon. They are very, very friendly people, and my God, the friendliness and the hospitality that they gave me and my staff every time that we are there. So Bogor is also their favorite place to go. So thank you very much, everyone, and I hope that I have shared something to you, and thank you very much for your attention.